up out the way, don't get your issue splat. Stop letting this shit slide and get your lick back. And get your lick back. I feel like I'm JX. J-Way. I'm a perfectionist. Adderall got me restless. I'm gone. Run with a wild crew, they get reckless. Young boy, come up off that neck. Give me that. To the trends. See you, Lee, be the band.
Evening and welcome to another episode of Corner to Copa. I'm here with my co-host Coach. This is a Tuesday edition. I know we're keeping you guessing. You just don't know what day we're gonna go live. We said the schedule might be a little different during the holidays and during the summer with all the things going on, but we made it. So if you don't catch it for the live, I'm sure you will catch us on the playback or on the audio side of things. But we are here. Coach, how's it going?
Oh, nice to enjoy a weekend where I wasn't on the ball field myself. First weekend not around baseball since the beginning of April, so I will gladly take that little breather, celebrate our Independence Day, if you will. But as the temperatures get hotter and stay hotter, so have the Tigers. But I know we got some things to talk about here as we get closer to the trade deadline. That talk will start to ramp up. We've got our All-Stars announced, along with the always entertaining Home Run Derby down in Atlanta later next week. And we will look ahead to the end of the first half and a sneak peek at the second half.
Yes, the reoccurring theme as the temperature gets warmer, the Tigers continue to get the job done, and we are slowly running away with the AL Central. It doesn't look like they're going to put up much of a fight. It's still early, still just a bit past the halfway point, but the Tigers are currently 58-34. I can't remember the last time we were this high above 500. I mean, I think even in our peak years, I think we struggled to be this good or this efficient, but we are 14 games up on Kansas City. We are 15 and a half up on Cleveland. And then I think we're up 30 on the White Sox. The Twins are in there somewhere, but the next closest team is Kansas City. And they are 14 wins away from us. But this past week, I talked about, the Nationals are a team that's struggling, and they now have a brand new manager after all this, but they've got some good young talent, and they actually beat us 2 out of the 3 games. I think we had a double header because there was a rain out on either Monday or Tuesday, but they ended up being a double header. We destroyed them in the first game, like 11-3, and then it was is his name James Wood? It was whatever his first name is. He laid the wood to us the entire series. This is a young player that was a part of the Juan Soto deal. He went 5 for 5 in one game. We just plain could not get him out. Our bullpen and our pitchers were spiraling. It felt that entire series. Maybe not game 1, but the last 2 games of that series. And then you just had the likes of somebody said that the name of some of these players that were getting off were like AI generated. You got House, Call, like, Brady House and whatever the guy's name called. It's like, are these real people? But I mean, the Nationals are just one of those young teams that gave us fits. We were talking about it off air. What the other young team was it Tampa? Maybe it was Tampa that we struggled with not too long ago. But yeah, Nathaniel Lowe, you got CJ Abrams. You got some good players on that team. You got Gore, who was also in that Juan Soto deal. It was Gore, Wood, Abrams, and maybe one other guy. But anyway, we were ready to get up out of the nation's capital, and we hit Cleveland with a vengeance for certain. A couple pitchers duels. Even the game 3 was a pitcher's duel up into the extra innings, and then we just let them have it in the 10th. Sweeney hit a home run. I think Green hit a home run. So that game got out of hand. But what is your reactions to sweeping Cleveland? Do you think that was a major boost to our morale after the last time we saw him?
I think the biggest thing was heading into that Sunday game. Even though we had the series technically won, it's like, okay, it's Scooble Day. Right. You know, we got to keep putting up W's on Scooble Day, and man, the poor guy just can't get some run support. Like 3 out of 4 outings he has, he'll get like 2 runs, 3 runs, maybe 4 or 5, but it's like almost all after he's been pulled from the game, unless he, goes a distance, which he's only done once this year against Cleveland at home. But, they found a way to blow the doors open in the 10th. Like you said, Sweeney literally ran into a fastball off Class A that just went over that massive wall there in Cleveland. I was just sitting there frustrated. Like, we're going to win a series and we're going to win it with Scooble losing potentially the game. Because like you said, it was 1-0 until, Torkelson got hit. McKinstry pinch ran, stole second. I thought he was safe live. It looked like a young umpire out there at second base made the out call, overturned, and then, advances once and then advances again on a brilliant heads-up play, just watching the ball squirt through Naylor's legs there a little bit. But, I think it wasn't so much our issue of struggling. Their pitcher came out, was great. And they had 3 catchers in the lineup too. I mean, that's how much they're struggling right now. That says a lot when you have all 3 of your primary backup and maybe semi-backup catcher all in the lineup the same day. But man, Scooble keeps this up. I tell you what, his numbers are already on track to be better than last year. And I don't know how another pitcher, at least in the American League, would be best suited for an MVP for a year he's having if he continues on his trajectory.
Yeah, I mean, the last I checked, he was pushing on under 2 as far as the ERA is concerned, which is just unbelievable. I mean, you think after having a season like that, you expect him to – I mean, I don't know if you expected him to have a lesser than year, but you would have been hard pressed to just say, oh yeah, he'll do better. He'll pitch better than he did last year. But he finds a way to do that. There was definitely some people that were disappointed that we spoiled his, start, but we ended up prevailing. And yeah, McKinstry just continues to be one of the MVPs of the team, just doing the little things, getting that steal. And then, I listened to it on the radio. So when the pass ball happened, I'm thinking it flies to the backstop, but no, it just kind of a fastball that just kind of squeaked under his glove, and they weren't even able to make a play on that. Like, I mean, he had to read that pitch right out of his hand in order to get a jump good enough to where he didn't even have to slide. Matter of fact, he was able to score that run standing up. And it wasn't like I said, it wasn't an errant ball that he spiked. It just kind of, skimmed the dirt, but it ended up getting under Naylor's glove. And so we didn't end up there was no RBIs on the play until we got to the extra inning. And then of course the floodgates were loose. But as far as, key players for the week, I think Green had a multi-home run game. I want to say it was that first game against the Nationals where we blew them out. Cole Keith continues to play well. Mm-hmm. And it's just the M's. Mize, another good game. Montero, which kind of bleeds into this week, had another good game last week where we didn't have an opener. We just let him start, and go figure. The guy pitches well. I mean, go figure. And then McKinstry, Mize, Montero, the 3 M's. But anybody else that jumped out at you as key players in this past week?
Yeah, I mean, Green was on a slide last week, really struggling until he hit that home run in Cleveland in extra innings to really cement it after Sweeney took the lead with it. That was his first hit against Cleveland this year. Granted, it's been 2 series, so really not that many games played, but that good mental. Yeah, it's a good mental thing for him to leave town knowing, okay, I can't hit against these guys this year. Now he'll probably be a little more okay the next time around, which I think is next after the All-Star break here, we're going to see again as we get a little more divisional heavy. But in terms of just some of the general storylines, I really do think that Casey Mize should have gotten more attention for potential All-Star nomination. God, a guy is just coming around like we had hoped he could be. And in the absence of Job and now Reese Olson coming back, it's been well needed. Obviously, with the highlight of Flaherty struggling over his last handful of starts, they've needed someone else. And Montero, we talked about it yesterday offline. It was his first start in 3 weeks in the big leagues. He hadn't pitched since early to mid-June and stepped out there and it was like he was in the rotation the whole time and never left. He continues to get better. I think he's going to be a guy we're going to rely on in the playoffs here for sure. I'm not saying that any other guys are going to continue to slide, but he continues to be more and more reliable. I don't want to say an innings eater, but he's gotten his walks under control. His pitch efficiency is better. Really all good things for him heading in towards the All-Star break here. And like you said, Cole Keith, man, guy continues to progressively get better. It's almost like last year, carbon copy almost. Finally, he had some power. Boy, did he have a big game last night. 3 for 4, a home run and 2 doubles. I mean, he was getting just base hits. That's all he cared about. Him and Torkelson, same approach. Just put the barrel on the ball, let it find a spot and fall, and then, where it falls, they'll run. Doesn't matter. They don't really care. And if Cole kind of settles in down there at third base, I mean, we'll get into it later, but do we even really seriously need to look at a potential power bat at third base with him coming around? So we'll see. Lots to get into. So I'll keep it short on the recap portion for the week and turn it back to you.
Yeah. So I went to the game yesterday, and when you talk about players that can play third base, I mean, I saw a lot yesterday. Obviously, we know McKinstry can play third base, but he was in right field. So he was in right field last night. And I got the perfect vantage point. I'm standing in right field, a couple rows up. So McKinstry's is directly in front of me. So he got an outfield assist yesterday. It was on a play that we were able to kind of kill the rally a little bit. This was a base hit where I think 1 run scored, but McKinstry was able to cut down a runner headed to third to continue the threat. And it was a great play by Javi Baez. It was a perfect vantage point to really see just the little things that Javi Baez is able to do, because so when he's receiving this cutoff throw from McKinstry, he's standing there, nonchalantly as if the ball's not even coming. Now, of course, the base runner has the base coach in front of him to kind of let him know, hey, you need to slide, regardless of how Javi, is standing. But I think that little bit, that half second of doubt, because Javi's standing there as if the ball is not even coming his way, was, I think, just enough to make the base runner hesitate. And he was able to tag, we know what Javi does defensively, as far as tagging runners is concerned, normally at second base on a stolen base attempt. But just those little things that they don't teach you. Either you know how to do it or you don't, because I think the average guy probably messes that up in some kind of way, or is just focused on just, let me catch this ball and try to tag them. But we have a lot of options at third base. You got Javi, you got McKinstry, you got Vierling, who I don't think has even played third base. And Cole Keith hasn't been bad. He's a guy that's got to be in the lineup every day, whether it's against a lefty or righty. Maybe you give him a day off against a lefty, but Cole Keith historically has been pretty good against lefties. So, this comes in the light of Brian Hayes rumors that the Tigers might be interested in him. Great defensive player. Probably he would be the best defensive player, a third baseman on Detroit, but he's, he brings nothing offensively with the bat. So, I don't know if it makes sense. I think it's going to have to be Eugenio Suarez type caliber player for it to even make sense, honestly. But yeah, good game yesterday. We got to see, back-to-back home runs from Cole Keith and McKinstry. I think McKinstry hit was he in the 3? No, I think he was in the 2 hole because
3.
Was it
Unless
3?
that was Sunday. I remember we were talking about that. I'm like, why is he batting third? It's like, you find another lineup, him bat third, I'll call you a liar.
Yeah, so you know what? Yeah, so Torres was the leadoff hitter. Cole Keith was in the 2 hole, and then McKinstry in the 3 hole, and then
Colt almost leads off exclusively. Gleiber bats 2 almost exclusively.
So was it? So
it went Colt, Gleiber, McKinstry, and then it went Riley Green, and then Torkelson.
So maybe it wasn't a back-to-back then, because I know Keith and McKinstry hit one in the same inning because it went to the same part of the park almost, which was not too far from me.
Yeah.
But at any rate, let's get to the first break, and then we will talk roster moves. All right, what we got going on as far as rosters are concerned?
Oh boy! Even though we got an extra day or two here of capturing news and whatnot, this is another busy week in regards to the roster here. So back on June 30th, Matt Gage cleared waivers and was outrighted after he was DFA'd. He's now a minor league player with the Mud Hens. Kerry Carpenter, I'm back on the 2nd, retroactive to the 30th, 10-day IL. So June 12th, technically, would be the day he'd be eligible, if not the 13th. More to come. Honestly, there's really no rush to bring him back. You can probably just sit him the rest of the week and go into the All-Star break. There's really zero reason to get him back that right after the 10 days. So we'll see what happens with that. Same day, Sawyer Gibson Long unexpectedly went back on the 15-day IL, retroactive to his previous outing on the June 29th, which, correct me if I'm wrong, he didn't get pulled from that game or leave injured. If my memory serves me right, he actually pitched a decent outing that day, and there were no reports of him being hurt, but I guess something's going wrong with him. So 15-day IL, a little worrisome, just considering how long he's been out and how long it's taken him to get back to that level. So we'll keep a closer eye on that, because as we know, the pitching or the rotation right now, along with the bullpen, has been a bread and butter again this year. With that, coinciding move was, you recall, Tyler Owens and Bailey Horn, Trey Sweeney, and Justin Hunter Malloy all on the same day. Usually that's enough for a week, so that's kind of crazy. July 3rd, last Friday, they demoted Dylan Smith, who would come up for the doubleheader in the National Series as part of that emergency 27th man situation MLB allows for doubleheaders. And they also demoted Tyler Owens same day. July 4th, they activated Reese Olson, who started that day, and demoted Justin Hunter, Henry Malloy back down to Toledo. And on the 4th, they announced that Alex Cobb had yet another cortisone shot to his, I don't know which hip. They both hurt for him right now. I just cut him already. Please, can we cut him and be done with this? You got to save him for the postseason. He might be a corpse by the time the postseason comes around. If anything, it was more passive information from AJ the other day. The Jose Urquidy, the former Astro, is ramping up. He seems a bit more on track to return at some point well after the All-Star break. So we'll see probably another update on him after the All-Star break on that. And then just recently today, as I sent you a minor league update, the Mud Hens released Manuel Margot and signed former Mexican League pitcher lefty Devin Smeltzer, originally a Dodgers draft pick in 2016, a 5th rounder, and they assigned him to Margot's spot in Toledo. He's a soft-throwing lefty. I think you got some more information on him later, so I'll keep the surprise tight for that. But his last major league action was in 2023 with Miami, and that rounds out the injury and news updates.
All right, and let's get right into the minor league report. Biggest news is there were a lot of call-ups this week. Well, first and foremost, we have a couple of players that are being represented in Rising Stars, uh, the Rising Stars game, which is during the All-Star break. So we got Kevin McGonigal and Max Clark, who were representatives last year, but we have Josue Briseño as well, joining them in the Rising Star game. There's been an update to the MLB pipeline top 100, and the Tigers currently have 5 players. Kevin McGonigal has jumped Max Clark to number 7 overall. Clark is at 12. Bryce Rainier, who was out for the year, is at 41. Josue Briseño is now 58, and he jumped Theron Lorenzo, who is now 88th. But so as of right now, Kevin McGonigal, Max Clark, and Briseño have also joined Mr. Lorenzo in Erie. I want to try to pull up. I'm going to pull up this lineup because in my head I'm thinking, okay, what is this Erie lineup about to look like? Because Erie is dominating as is, but now you're bringing, 3 other top 100 MLB prospects into that fold. And we do have the lineup for tonight. See if I can share my screen here. And for the individuals that are listening on the audio side of things, we have Max Clark leading off in center field. We have Theron Lorenzo batting second and playing catcher. You got Kevin McGonigal at shortstop batting third. Max Anderson batting fourth. Josue Briseño DH. You got Jake Holton at first base. Justice Bigby at left field. Roberto Campos in right field, Jim Jarvis at third, and Garrett Burnham as the pitcher tonight. If you thought West Michigan was putting up a lot of runs, well, we'll see. I'm actually extremely excited. I mean, everybody has been asking for this, asking for the promotion of McGonigal, Clark, and Briseño, and they finally have that, and we get to see how they adjust to the AA, because AA is the real test. Once you get to AAA, I mean, I think the top talent is, or as far as the top, high ceiling talent is at the AA level, and we've seen Theron Lorenzo had his struggles. He did have a home run on his birthday this weekend. And after a slow start, he is picking things up. But this is the major, this will let you know how quickly your Max Clarks, your McGonigals, how quickly you're going to see them. So this is the test right here. And that they should be playing pretty soon. So it's going to be fun to see them with Max Anderson, who's already made that jump up to Erie and has played well at that level. But in addition to that, the catcher Valencia, the reason why he's not the current catcher right now is because he's been moved up to AAA. So he's hitting well over 300 from what I recall. So if he starts tearing it up in Toledo, there's a chance. There's a chance that I don't know. I won't say there's a chance that you might see him this year, but he had a major. He took a pretty big jump this year. He was a guy that didn't have a whole lot of buzz going into the year, but hitting for power, having a similar jump to Max Anderson, hitting the ball to the pull side a lot more for a lot more power. So he's a guy to definitely look out for, but definitely want to tune into that Rising Stars game. You want to and keep an eye on how Briseño, McGonigal, and Clark adjust to this Erie pitching, because that's what everybody's been asking for and clamoring to see. And we knew that around the All-Star break we would probably see that, but there's just no rush. We have the
God
top.
damn it.
What's going on?
Flaherty already gave up a home run in the second at bat.
Oh, well. Let's talk. Well, you know what? Let's get to the let's get to the break, and then we got to talk about that because it's interesting. He's an interesting guy. Just I don't know. We're gonna talk about on the tail end of things. Here we go. Coming into the year, he was supposed to be, part of the 1-2 punch with School Bull, and it's to say the very least, it's been a rocky year. It's crazy because when you look at the numbers, when you look at, he's walking a lot of guys. He's been, he's been victim to a lot of hard contact, a lot of barrels. But his opponent's batting average isn't that high. It's not like he's giving up a load of hits, but when they do make contact, they're making it count. And right, I mean, luckily Mize has emerged as another dependable guy, and hopefully Reese Olson can get back going. He made his return. Was it against Cleveland? He made his comeback.
Yeah, just this past weekend. Yeah.
Yep. Did you get? What did you see in that game? It seemed like he was laboring. Like he didn't give up. I don't think he had it. It wasn't a bad outing because we only gave up a couple runs, but it seemed like it took him a lot to get through what he did get through.
Yeah, I mean it's first game back. He's still kind of young here. I'm actually trying to pull up that box score right now. But I mean, hell, that whole series was low scoring. So yeah, 4 1/3, 6 hits, 1 earned, 1 walk, 3 Ks, 89 pitches, 52 strikes to 27 Ks or walk or ball. Sorry, not quite 2-1. So a little rusty, but still has a nice 2.89 ERA. So all in all, that's kind of a stat line what we're used to seeing a SGL in the handful of games that he's had, and even Montero to a degree, but he's been pitching a little bit better and a little bit deeper, which has been nice. And then I think the thing that helped it too to keep him in position to win that game still was Tyler Holton had one of his better outings of the year and going almost 3 full innings and only allowing 1 hit with 4 Ks and 41 pitches. So that 1-2 combo there did a great job spreading around 7 hits and 1 walk and 7 innings of work there. So and they're able to take advantage of a struggling team that Cleveland is offensively that have lost now a bunch in a row. Finally, I think they got off the schneid last night in Houston. Go figure. But hey, you know what? Not a quality start, but 1 earned run, 4+ innings, spread around 6 hits to limit any real damage. I'll take it considering what we're seeing. Flaherty just giving up bombs like he's in the Little League World Series.
Yeah. Speaking of Houston, they are the number 1 team in baseball right now. They have surpassed us in the power rankings. I can't tell you what the official, I don't know if it's the official MLB power rankings or whatever I saw, but they just swept the Dodgers. Obviously, I don't know if they swept us, but they
swept them, and they were missing 4 of their best players, including Pena. Altuve obviously
Altuve played, right?
But all their other big boppers, big hitter guys weren't available, and they still swept them, including dropping an 18-1 game, which is the largest home loss in regular season history at Dodger Stadium.
Yeah, that's insane.
Yeah.
I think I started watching that game, but it was like late, so I fell asleep. But that's insane. Yeah, Alvarez has been hurt all year with that bad hand. Just when you think that it's crazy. It's really crazy when you think about it, because I feel like the Houston pundits felt that they would, thought that there might be some regression. No Bregman, no. If you would have told me no Bregman, no Tucker, and Alvarez is out for it has been out for most of the year, you're thinking there's no, there's in what world are they the best team in the division? But Astros is one of those teams that just always hang around. They're always good no matter what, and they obviously have one of the best closers in baseball. They have some of the best, have one of the better starters in baseball as well. But that's a team. That's a team I don't know if you want to face later on. They didn't sweep the Tigers. I think they at least won 2 of 1 for sure. But not a team that I expected to be faring as well as they are. Any other news going on around the league right now?
Yeah, only because you mentioned it before we headed into the weekend last week. Toronto has come out of the blue to take over the AL East, and boy, they are the hottest team in baseball. The last 10 games, 9-1, and I wouldn't be surprised if one of their hotter teams over the last probably 3 weeks or so, going back to the second week of June roughly, because the Yankees had a decent lead and they were cooking, and all of a sudden Toronto went in and swept them, and now the Yankees are they're not in free fall. They're still in a great spot in the wild card, still within striking distance, but it looks like the panic button has been hit a little bit there, at least in terms of some of the fans wanting Boone fired and whatnot. I'm like, relax. Aaron Judge is having a monster year. Max Fried is right in there along with Hunter Brown and Skubal for probably the trio front runners for the American League Cy Young. So they're a team that, we saw them once, but they were a little bit discombobulated. Remember, fresh off the heels of the failed renegotiation with Bichette, him not wanting to be there, and some of that fallout. So they've gotten it together. So we'll see how serious they are heading out, coming back out of the All-Star break. You hit the nail on the head about Houston. Frankly, I do not want to see them. I mean, look at the names of the players they've lost over the last 4 or 5 years, including their manager, and they're still clicking. So, yeah, they're legitimate. I don't care where they finish. As long as they get in, they'll be a threat no matter what. So the later we see them, the better. But then again, who knows? If it's the ALCS, that's a big spot for them that they're used to being in. But, aside from that, we expect Colorado, Washington, Pittsburgh to be sellers. The drama around the Pirates and Skeens and the other players you mentioned continue to swirl around the league, and Miami to be sellers. As I don't know if Alcantara will get traded just because he's been hurt, but man, did he have a fantastic year last year before he did get hurt. Was probably one of the first or second guy for the NL Cy Young. If it wasn't for the injury and or Skeens having an incredible first year. I'd expect Atlanta to be a soft seller too, just depending on what the asking price is for some of the guys that they'd be considering, like Ozuna. Obviously Acuna is not getting moved, so there might be some other guys in their pitching side that might get dealt as well to another contender. But yeah, briefly, just kind of trending up and down, because I know we want to talk a little bit more about some of the trade targets here. We have some new names on the list to kind of go over real quick, but trending up, over the last week or so, Casey Mize, Skubal, Will Vest, Canley, McKinstry, and Torres, and Keith. I don't know about Keith, but all the other guys pretty much could have been all-stars, all of them, including McKinstry for utility. Keith, up until this was written Sunday before the game, so he had a 7-game hit streak snapped on Sunday, but he had 8 hits in 8 of the last 11 games. And if you count yesterday, 9 of his last 12, he's hitting and raking now with power. Down, Flaherty, we mentioned it, and we saw those of you that are watching on the YouTube side saw me slumped down in my chair. The reaction to Flaherty giving up the home run to Araneda, I believe it is, the number 2 hole hitter right now for Tampa. I don't know. I just don't know about him. I worry that his innings trigger for the contract extension next year scares me. And I think it's a little bit cheaper than what they're paying him now. But ever since we traded him last year and through the playoffs, didn't get signed until halfway through spring training this year. I I'm legitimately hitting this is now a problem button. And I don't know if he's going to be the same guy. And if last year was just a flash in the pan kind of deal, but he relies on his fastball. And if he's getting if that pitch is getting rocked, his number 2+ pitch is off speed, I believe slider or sweeper, something like that. It becomes very hittable because his other third, fourth pitch are average at best. He relies everything on his fastball to set up his other pitches, and he's given up an enormous amount of home runs. So I'm seriously concerned about him now. Front end of the bullpen, we've talked about it. We'll address later some trade deadline talk. They need some help, especially if they're lefties. They need some gas guys to help bridge the Canley and Vest, because if their starters can't go 7 innings like back in the day we used to with Scherzer and Sanchez and Verlander and those guys that could go 7 on any given night, every night, this is not the case right now. So with this rotation and approach, and just kind of their offensive firepower, they've shown some clutch ability, which is huge. But we've noted on some series where they'll just blow the doors open game 1, put up a gaudy 9, 10, 12 runs, and then they'll be lucky to put like 5 runs across the next 2 games and somehow go 1-1 to take the series. So a little nerve-wracking that way for sure, but we'll talk again about that more later on. But that is it in terms of trending up and down and around the league. Mike. You're muted.
You hear me now?
You're good.
I don't know why it muted. But so yeah, granted, this is one of the healthier years that Flaherty has had. As you can see, when you look at the barrel numbers, I mean, he's at 25 halfway through the year. He only had 32 all of last year in half.
Setting a record.
Yeah, so he threw 1,646 pitches last. He's threw 1,500 right now, and he's already equaled the amount of barrels. See the rates up from 11% from 7%. What else did I see? Oh, where's the home runs? There should be a home run total on here. Where is the home run total?
Yeah, right there. Yep.
So this is only 24 and 25, but
my God,
total he gave up last year.
He's already at it
21
for the 4-seam alone.
23. 23 home runs all of last year. Right now he is at 16. It's 16 right now.
17 counting this one.
17 counting that one. So well at pace. I mean, we haven't even got to the playoffs. There's a lot of so yeah. But when you look at for whatever reason, the expected batting average is only 238. So it's not. So they're not really getting hits in bunches, as we know. Hits. Getting into base hits is not as important as it was previously. It's home runs that matter, and as we've talked about, it's the home runs that's really hurting them more than anything. When you break down the numbers by the pitches, like you said, the fastball is what's getting him cooked right now. That's the highest average of them all. The knuckle curve, the batting average is 177, 27. The changeup is 0. I mean, he doesn't throw very often. He's only throwing it 46, but and then the sinker, which he's only thrown 32 times. So they're not hitting a high. It's not a high average, and it's not a high expected batting average off of them. But that 10 home runs with the 4-seam fastballs is what's really is what's really killing him right now. So the rest of the outing go because hopefully it's just a bad start to the game. I did want to look at the Savant page for the guy that we just went out and got. What is his name again? Devin
Smeltzer. Smeltzer.
Yeah, and it's not a not a sexy Savant page, so don't get excited or anything for the viewers, but he hasn't played in the major league since 2023. That's recorded. The last recorded stats. Come on up here.
Oh, it's surprising. You look at his 2022 numbers, which was the last year the Twins had him after they traded for him. I mean, those are not bad numbers at all. 5-2, 370, 1.22 WHIP. That's not bad.
So yeah, as far as the 2023 one, it doesn't look like what did he play at? He had 9 games, 1 start, 22 innings, so not a whole lot going on. But yeah, as we talked about off camera, or I don't know if we said it on camera, but definitely not a fast, not a high vulture is in the 4th percentile. His average speed is only 89 miles per hour. He's gonna be in the strike zone much, which you can see, but everything else doesn't look pretty. Let's go back to that 2022 date. Maybe there's okay. So the chase rate, yeah, and he's still in the strike zone.
I guess definitely for him, everything's off speed when you throw that slow.
Yeah, even the fastball is off speed. At 89, that's some pitchers' slider. So, yeah. A heavy off-speed guy, but he's
that's slower than Scooble's changeup.
Right. Dang, I feel like there was somebody else. Oh well, John, you added a couple people to the trade. Actually, let's take a break, and then we're gonna talk. Take a trades, and I'll pull up there. Yeah. And I did get a chance to check out their pages, but who did we add to the trade targets? I think there was a lefty on the Braves, and I think there was a reliever from the Baltimore that really jumped out.
Aaron, the lefty of the Braves is Aaron Brummer, Brummer. I think he was on the team when they won the World Series 2 years ago.
Moving slow. Oh, here we go.
Yeah, I'll go over some of the names while that's loading here. So in addition to the names of like Eugenio and Willie Castro, which I'm kind of less and less on, Castro specifically, Brummer as a free agent in next year, after the end of next year with the $1.5 million extension from his Chicago White Sox days, now with Atlanta after they acquired him. Byron Buxton, who we did talk about already. Dennis Santana, who we already talked about already, who's now tied, I think, to the Phillies in terms of early speculation. And it looks like you've got it up, so I will save the.
I got the
last
wrong guy
names,
up here. It's
Aaron Ashby. Yeah. All right.
Yeah,
Yep.
I'm trying to change.
Yeah. In terms of offensive firepower, I looked at some reasonable options, like in the mindset of Scott Harris, like, okay, relatively inexpensive. You not have to fork a boatload of money over for a current contract or something like that. But Ryan McMahon of the Rockies, third base, has only 2 more years left under his extension at $16 million average AAV through 2027. I think would be a good bargain. And you'd have a few years more at third base to kind of help settle down with some, I'd say, respectable power for McMahon. He's not tearing the cover off the ball, but boy, he can hit for power. A rental player, first baseman Ryan O'Hearn, I believe, of the Orioles, if they decide to be sellers or even soft sellers. And then also on the Orioles, relieving flamethrower Felix Bautista, which has team control under his rookie deal through 2027, which would be also an intriguing option. But I feel like he very well could be a pricey get in terms of at least one, if not two pieces and or prospects going back.
Yeah. Or he's been probably one of the lone bright spots over there when you look at what he does. But yeah, this is Aaron Bummer right here. He's a ground ball pitcher that a lot of soft contact, but he's also able to strike guys out as well. And this is a lefty, so very, very ideal for what we need out the pen. Tyler Holton is probably our best option on the left hand side, and he's seemed like he's kind of act together a little bit, but you can never have enough of those guys. Bummer doesn't throw very hard. His average fastball velocity is 91, but still finds a way to get strikeouts and just weak contact.
Look at that arm angle too. If you look at that in the bottom left of that, 11 degrees. That's fairly flat. Yeah. So to the fact that he can throw a curve, sinker, and sweeper that all have three different breaks, both horizontally and vertically, man, that's tough. So I understand why the barrel rate and the ground ball rate are so top tier, top 5% elite, really.
And what's the guy in the Orioles? What's his name?
Felix Bautista. I almost wonder if he's related to Joey Bats, but no.
And very common last name.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Except Joey doesn't look nearly. I mean, yeah. Well, I'll leave that aside. But yeah, I mean, do we need another lefty? I don't know. I know we're down one from the beginning of the year. Was it Gunther that's hip surgery out for the year, and we just signed this dude to the Mexican League. But man, I think Bummer would be a nice addition. Bautista would be a fantastic addition, give you an extra flame-throwing arm to kind of combo with Tommy Kahnle, who throws a lot of that off-speed stuff from the right side. So you'd get a mix of a lot of good hard throwers. To a degree, Tyler Holton does throw hard for a lefty. You combine that with Bummer or, potentially the new guy that we signed, Devin Smeltzer. And then if you had Bautista too with Kahnle and Will Vest, man, that's a pretty good 5-6 combination right there, just bridging the last 3+ innings after the road starter comes out.
I should have restarted this computer before I tried to do all this extra. We're gonna get Bautista and them pulled up next time because I want to make it drag.
Yeah. Let me get your thoughts on those guys here. I don't know if there's any one person in particular you wanted to touch on, but
hold on. Let me eliminate this. Yeah, no, I like the suggestions you put out there. McMahon's an interesting one.
I'll ask. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, yeah, McMahon's an interesting one. He's got a couple years left on his deal. He plays good defense, but kind of goes into what we talked about as far as third base. Do you want to commit to McMahon right now with the different options we have at third? It's tough to say, but
I'll say this: if they don't re-sign, if Gleiber does leave for a big extension somewhere else, I mean, I feel like it would slot in well for next year, considering you put Colt back at second, and then you put Ryan at third, and you still have Javi at short, and whatever they decide to do with Torkelson, I think beyond this year, next year is when his team control ends. So.
Yeah. I mean, eventually you're going to have to find, especially if Gleyber leaves, which I don't know. It's tough to say whether that will happen, but yeah, eventually you're going to have to find some some guys to slide in as the everyday option. We know we have some stopgaps and some band-aids for that, um, but yeah, we will have to solidify that eventually. So having an everyday third baseman that we know is going to play top notch defense like a McMahon would, and I feel like when you bring players that come from bad organizations and then you bring them to a environment that has the camaraderie and the fire and the hunger that ours does, I think that you're going to find that they'll play better. They're going to play better baseball. Like even Gleyber Torres, he had a down year last year, and now he's an all-star. I think that when you put people in the right environments and knowing that they have the opportunity to win, you're going to bring out the best in them. And right now, McMahon's just kind of rotting over in Colorado. So, yeah, I do like the idea of bringing in veterans that are proven at other organizations.
Yeah, because I'll say this: let's just say for a moment here, while we begin to wrap up here, just for some food for thought, and those of you listening as well, those of you on the audio or visual side of YouTube, give us your opinion here. If they were to get McMahon, and they, you have to make a choice then. Who's getting the extensions between the 2 out of the 3 players? Riley Green, Spencer Torkelson. Well, let's just say, you go to the year's end and you still have, you got Gleyber. Those 3 guys, and you only get 2 to extend because of how cheap Illich is. And, you got to save money for Skubal, at least to offer. Which of the 2, 3 are you resigning right now?
Oh, my God. Oh,
I feel like Green is a lock at this point. Green has to be a guaranteed lock of one of the 3.
It comes down to Torkelson and Torres. It comes down to Torkelson and Torres. I think it's I say Torkelson and Green, and for we know Green is a lot, but between Torkelson and Torres, you have somebody that's on the way that's going to play second base at the high. I don't think McGonigal is going to play shortstop at the highest level of baseball. So he's on the way. He's about as close as you got to a lock on the prospect side of things. Torres is a little bit older. I don't know how durable he's going to be. I think he's been great. I think he's been to the level of a Polanco, Kinsler. He's been that at second base for us, not defensively, but just being a contact guy at the top of the lineup. But he is older. He's he's not great on the base paths. And I think that signing him, extending him long-term is gonna put a block. It's gonna block our number 1 prospect right now. So, he's now in Erie. We'll see how he does in Erie. There's no such thing as a lock at the prospect level. You always got to go with what at the major league level. But Torkelson is younger. He's put together, not a full season yet, but the equivalent to a full season of pretty good baseball, and he's still young. He has that, and he wasn't the number 1 pick for no reason. The talent is obviously there, and I think that there's more of a solidified slot for him at this current juncture, with him being younger and not blocking McGonigal. That's what it comes down to. But what are your thoughts on that?
It is interesting to think. I don't really think there's a wrong way to go about it, but if you do get McMahon and he kind of settles in at third and Colt kind of plays all over the place, I would say, man, I'd be more at quest to re-signing Gleyber, because when McMahon's done, or you could simply just trade him and then you put Colt right back at third, and then you're just left with figuring out what you need to do at first base. I mean, didn't he start at third base originally, or did he start at short?
I think he's been short and second his entire his
Yeah.
his short stint. I don't think he's ever played third. I think they're trying just about everybody. I think they're trying Max Anderson at third, and there's no wonder why that is.
Yeah.
I mean, how you
I mean, it's
leave.
tough to say he's being blocked because you still have Trey Sweeney kind of up and down too. So in the pecking order as it is, he's still ahead of McGonigal. So who knows? Maybe at the end of the 2 years, at the end of 2026, you just kind of, wave goodbye to Torkelson and Sweeney.
You're so
or you
ready to
trade
get rid of
Sweeney to
Torkelson.
free up the spot. But, well, I mean, you can't. There's only enough money that Illich is going to spend. And if you re-sign Torkelson, Glaber, and Green, and you still got to pay Skubal, McKinstry's going to be up for a contract extension here in the next year or two when his team he's damn near almost 30, believe it or not.
Yeah,
Casey Mize is going to be coming off his rookie deal soon, any year now. You have a lot of guys that are going to be owed some money, and if they keep playing the way they do, there ain't going to be enough mouths to feed with our owner giving out dimes instead of dollars.
So let's say Torkelson finishes the season. The way I mean, when I look at how he's going to finish the season, 30 home runs, 90 RBIs. Let's just throw that out there. I don't think that's crazy to say. What do you think he would command?
I mean, it'd be the first and only good whole year he's had. Granted, he's still on a average decline, but I mean, it's tough. If he ends up hitting around 210, 220, because he's hitting around, 220, 230? He kind of got up a little bit the last series or two. But it feels like that'll happen. He'll have a game or two. He'll hit a home run or an RBI double, clutch situation, and then kind of go quiet, or he'll go 1 for 4, 1 for 4, 1 for 4 with all singles. Not really doing too much, but what do you command? I don't know.
What do you think he'll ask for? Because when you say picking between the 2 out of 3, if you're not asking for a lot of money, I mean, does it really,
Cole could play first. You're paying him $6 million. It's still pretty cheap in that regard. So, but there's only so many roster spots, and I think that's another thing to the trade question is now with Carey eventually going to come back. I think it also, we're running out of time though. Unfortunately, we have like a week and 2.5 weeks for the trade deadline. We don't know about Vierling. We don't know too much about Parker. Those are some question marks. Carey, obviously, his ability to stay healthy. If you can have a repeat of last year, come back and just tear it up, I think they'll be in a fine spot. They won't need to go get a bat. But I'm more inclined to re-signing Green and Gleiber than I am Torkelson because, if Torkelson has a flash-in-the-pan year and he goes right back to struggling immensely, you can't demote him anymore without having to cut him, and you're on the hook for whatever you owe him, even if it is, let's just say, 1 year, $10 million. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think they're going to give him a multi-year extension. He hasn't really shown the consistency to have earned that, but maybe an option for a second year, whether it's player or club. I guess probably club option. I think he will take it, especially if it's Detroit. I think he would be on a much shorter lease if he goes somewhere else, and then you begin that journeyman kind of bouncing around. So, but Gleiber's shown his ability to do it. Hell, he's been an MVP talk kind of guy in New York. Granted, asterisk, small, tiny little league ballpark, but man, he's doing everything they're asking him to this year. And frankly, he has been a bit better with the glove. Not nearly as many errors, certainly not above average, but serviceable for sure in the field.
Yeah, one thing about Gleyber, he's gonna make the plays right in front of him. He's not gonna wow you with a ton of diving catches. I mean, he's I don't want to say he's out of shape, but he's not your prototypical second baseman appearance wise. But yeah, he's gonna make the routine plays, so you're not going to see the outs above average. But I see a world where like you said, Torkelson doesn't have the leverage to command a bunch of money. So I think that you can extend the green and be comfortable and content with that. Maybe sign a Torres to a something reasonable, knowing that he's not on the down trot of his career, and then you can probably sign Torkelson to a nice little 1-year prove it deal. Now, if he comes back and hits another 30 home runs, close to 100 RBIs, then you got to pay him. But I think that he is comfortable in Detroit. He's content with the fact that we gave him an opportunity. He's a part of a winning organization, and I think he'll feel comfortable knowing that, hey, if I can get through another, healthy year, he's always healthy. Knock on wood, he's always healthy. Another productive year with Detroit, they will pay me, and it'll be a nice story, the 1-and-1 pick has its ups and downs, and then figures it out, and then gets extended long term. He stays with his buddies, and Green and Rogers and everybody else. So I think there's a way that everybody can make some money next year. But yeah, obviously Green and Torres are the ones that have proven the most as far as long-term wealth. But yeah, what's the update on the Tigers game right now, and then what are the probable starters for the rest of the week?
Yep. So Arenado continues to kill Flaherty. He had a double and scored on a single, so it's 2-0 Tampa in the third, and we're getting no hit, which is lovely. So, yeah, down 2-0 in the bottom of the third. McKinstry just popped out. They do have a base runner. It's perfect game's gone. Vierling got hit, so it's now Javi up to bat. But as we look ahead for the rest of the series here, obviously we've got Flaherty tonight. Tomorrow is still TBA, although I think that could be Reese Olson, if I'm not mistaken, or Montero, one of the two, TBA. Oh, no, that was Flaherty.
No, Montero went yesterday.
Tonight. So, yeah, Montero. They did change it. Sorry, this was written on Sunday before the Sunday game. So should be then Olson tomorrow against Brad Lytle for the matinee. Then they continue their home series with a 3-game set against the Mariners. Casey Mize scheduled against Castillo on Apple TV. Skubal and Kirby on Saturday on MLB Network. And Sunday, Flaherty against their top guy in Gilbert. So some good matchups here all week against some quality teams, some playoff teams. Seattle certainly right in the middle of the wild card race, although they've slipped behind the Astros. They're still benefiting the fact that the Angels are still not that great, and the Rangers continue to slide in the AL West. After that, we head in the All-Star break, and returning, quick peek ahead, first two series after, we have a little bit of a road stretch coming out, and going to Arlington for Texas for 3, and then heading to Pittsburgh for a 3-game set right after that.
All right, so that Seattle series is at home, so we'll get it. All the Detroit faithful get an opportunity to check out Mr. Raleigh, Mr. Arenado, what's his name? Rodriguez. Who's the center fielder?
Julio Rodriguez. You got J.P. Crawford, the stud shortstop. Yeah, they're hitting better this year, because I know that's a park we mentioned in one of our past shows. It's been rated by players as the most difficult to hit in, purely based on visuals and ability to hit. But fun note for this weekend, the Tigers are celebrating their 25th year and anniversary of the opening of Comerica Park.
Yeah, that makes me feel old. I remember where I was when the Comerica first. I remember going to Tiger Stadium, but I remember.
Yeah, for those that aren't aware, Foster and I are 80 babies, but 90s raised. So yeah.
Right. The All-Star game is right around the corner. So You definitely want to tune in once again to the Futures game. We got 3 guys representing this year. And yeah, the Tigers continue to roll. We'll see how the rest of this Tampa game goes and Tampa series concludes. But yeah, please subscribe to Bleachers to Speakers on YouTube, where you will find coverage on the Lions, the Pistons, and we also have a new show called On Wax, which is all Detroit sports, but this is more focused on prep. So we may have to interview Coach. We're going to be interviewing some coaches and stuff like that. But Coach is obviously active in the umping and reffing world of Michigan prep. So he might have to be one of the guests coming up. But yeah, other than that, stay tuned. We'll be back this Sunday, possibly. We'll see how that goes. But yeah, we out of here.